Hello everybody, I hope you're feeling well. Well, I'm going to make some bread in the bread machine today. I'm going to use caramelized onion and it's really delicious, and let me show you how to make it. You get some heat going under a pan and we want to put in about a tablespoon of butter. I'm going to be using a red onion, but you can use any kind of onion that you have. And I'm going to go ahead and slice this and then peel it. Okay, and then just cut it up, and you don't have to worry too much about getting the pieces small at all. The bread machine will take care of that. And so as that butter melts, we're going to put the onion in, and I'm just going to leave it like this. We'll separate it once it starts to soften and cool. This is such a delicious recipe for bread. It's very different than just your standard bread, but still it makes great sandwich bread. So we'll get these cooking. We want to put a little salt. I'm using some kosher salt, and we want to cover it. I do hope things are going well in your world. We're letting these onions just saute. We want them to get nice and caramelized and tender. And so they've been sauteing for a few minutes, and now they're getting soft, and it makes it really easy to break them apart. You just gently move them around and they come right apart, just like this. And when you caramelize onions, it brings the sugars out and the onions become very sweet, very tasty. Just take your time. There's no reason to hurry. Just watch the onions and let them cook until they get nice and tender. We'll cover them again and let them go for another 4 minutes or so. Now let's take a look. Oh yeah, they really smell good, and they're starting to get that nice deep caramel color on parts of them. That's what I'm looking for. We'll go ahead and spread them out a little bit and then let them cook a little bit longer uncovered. Beautiful onions. All right, we'll turn the heat off. Now it's time to take them out of the pan. Now I've got a paper plate with a paper towel, and I'm just going to transfer these onions over to that plate because we want to let them completely cool off before we put them into the bread machine. So that's why I'm doing the onions first. In fact, if you wanted to, you could just pop these into the refrigerator to make doubly sure that they're not warm. So now it's time to make the bread. Very simple, 1 1/3 cup of ordinary tap water, just the temperature of tap water. To that, add 2 teaspoons of salt. That's kosher salt that I'm using. 2 tablespoons of dry milk or powdered milk, whatever you want to call it. 4 tablespoons of sugar, ordinary table sugar. And now it's time for flour. I'm using ordinary all-purpose flour, 4 1/4 cups, and let me show you how I measure it. I just put the measuring cup in and shake it. There's 1 cup. Now you can use bread flour if you want to, but I find that it works just fine with all-purpose flour. So 4 1/4 cup, and then I'm going to put a little indentation there in the middle of that flour. Now that's the perfect place to put the yeast. I'm using Bread Machine Yeast, 3 teaspoons, and you want to use Bread Machine Yeast. The reason for that is the bread machine is calibrated and it's timed to use that kind of yeast. If you were going to cook in your oven, you could use any other kind of yeast you want. And then to that, we're going to cut and add 3 tablespoons of butter. Just like that. Put 1 portion of it in each corner of the bake pan. Simple, huh? Now we're going to go ahead and put this in to the bread machine and let it get started. It's not time for the onions yet. This machine sounds during the process to let you know when it's time to add any ingredients. And I'm going to take the dough out. It's been mixed and kind of enlarge it, and then put the onions in on top of it. Now there's kind of a trick to doing this because these onions are wet and kind of slippery. It's possible that the machine can start working and all of the onions just go to the bottom and they don't really get incorporated, and so you have to watch for that. So you let it run for a little while and then you check it. If all the onions are staying at the bottom, you need to go ahead and put them into the dough and kind of hand incorporate them. Anyway, that's the only thing that makes this a little more challenging. After that, you just wait till the loaf is baked, and this is how it comes out. A beautiful loaf, perfectly baked, of caramelized onion bread. Take a look at that. And it smells wonderful. Let me turn this right side up, let you get a better look at it. You can see the onions, some of them are on the outside of the loaf. They add a wonderful flavor, and let's slice it. It's a nice crispy outside and soft and tender on the inside. And if you look really close, you can see a little marbling effect inside of the loaf. And it's just from the coloring and flavoring of the onions that are in there. Very tender bread. It slices beautifully. Now this bread is still a little warm, which is just the way I like it. If you've never had this kind of bread, you really need to try it. Of course, if you don't like the flavor of onions, you won't like this. Beautiful bread. Let me let you see this a little closer, a little more detail. See how tender it is and soft it is. Look at that. It doesn't get any fresher than this. Oh, and it tastes so good. Let me have the rest of this. Well, there you have it. Onion bread. I hope you give it a try. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye now.